the Agile brand.
In an industry traditionally defined by in-person experiences, how can a virtual product tour reshape the customer journey and redefine the way brands like Mack Trucks engage with their audience? This episode is brought to you by the Office of Experience, a design-driven, digital-first, vertically integrated, and collaborative agency that believes in the power of ideas and the strength of people. We're excited to have two guests today with us to discuss the innovative Mack Truck Live Tour. David Galbraith, Vice President of Global Brand and Marketing for Mack Trucks, and Lisa Ferriter, Managing Director and Head of Client Strategy at the Office of Experience. Why don't each of you start by sharing just a little bit about your background and role in bringing this to life?
Sure. Lisa, you want to go first?
I'd be happy to. Thanks, Greg. I am Lisa Ferriter. I'm the Managing Director at OX, and I oversee our client strategy team. So that is our team of client business partners. And I've been a partner to David and the team at Mack Trucks, working closely with them for over 5 years. My role in helping to bring the Mack Live Tour to market, goes back to the year 2020, which was a formative year for Mack in terms of needing to think about and re-examine the customer experience. As you can imagine, that was a formative year for many businesses. And it was a time to kind of look and think about the way that customers engage with the product, needing to do that in a more virtually enabled sales experience versus a traditional, in-person physical experience. And so we began our conversations with Mack around that time and looking at their journey to bring this idea to them. And it really was kind of a moonshot at the time. And I'll turn it over to David.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been part of Mack now for going on 4 years. Prior to that, I was with VW, and prior to that, I was with Dell. And, one of the things that brings us here really was a desire to explore new ways to engage with our customer base, right? I give credit where credit's due. Lisa and the OX team, they came up and said, hey, what about XYZ? And if nothing, COVID taught us that, one, there's a lot of unique ways to engage with customers. And then after COVID, there was still a strong desire to do stuff in person. But that original learnings kept going. People still were very fine with virtual engagements. And now we're exploring that. And we can talk more about that.
Yeah. So let's dive right in then. And, so I know we've touched on it briefly, but let's talk a little bit more about what the Mack Truck Live Tour is all about. Can you describe it for us?
Yeah. So it's, this is one of those things, Greg, that's just dead over the plate. The idea was, hey, what if we put a truck in a studio, we found a well-spoken ambassador, and we went out to some of our customers and said, hey, would you like to learn about this new truck in this way? And it took us a little while to get there. I think Lisa mentioned, I think we reviewed the idea in 21, and I don't think we started really getting serious about it until late 22. And we've implemented it in where it's a curated tour with an ambassador. It's not a sales call. It's not meant to be a sales call. It's meant to simply those people that have not experienced the Mack Anthem or the Mack Granite or even the Mack brand in general have an opportunity to kind of figure out what's going on with this truck. And, I think what we get out of it is we control the environment, we have the trucks, and we make it available. The benefit to the customer, I think, in some ways, and Lisa, jump in here if I'm getting ahead of myself, but, like any outlet through COVID in that period of time, we didn't always have trucks on the ground. We were selling everything we could. And so we were having customers and dealers saying, well, I'd like to show you a truck, but I can't. I don't have one on the lot, or I don't have that specific trim, or whatever it was. No fault of their own. I love my dealer partners. So part of this was, well, what if we gave them an alternative that was a low pressure, very brief, 30 minutes to 45 minutes engagement, learn about the truck, learn if it's more interesting to them or not, And then if they want to get pushed to a dealer, we can serve that up. But they have full right of refusal on that part as well. Mm-hmm. It works so well for us, especially in conjunction with our configurator. So the two support each other. You can go configure a truck, and then you can go over here and explore it and learn more about it. Lisa, did I miss anything?
No, I was just going to say, I think the other consideration is the pre-purchase and consideration phase for this market can last anywhere from 3 months to a year. And that is coming with lots of visits to the dealership, lots of conversations to make sure that you're lining up the spec that is most important to you. And for the biggest customers, they might be doing that, to buy 200 trucks a year. And so if you think about it that way, that's a customer who is always buying. And this is a way for that customer to really engage with the product in a way that can potentially shorten the buying cycle, can allow them to get the information that they need in a direct way, talking to a product expert, as David said, in a very non-sales driven way. It's really just getting to the brass tacks of the product and the questions that they have to help shorten up or make that process more efficient for the customer. So I think that's another thing worthy of calling out, that it really has a direct benefit to the way that these customers experience the product and look to buy the product.
Another thing that we're talking about here is collaboration between a brand and their agency. And, so certainly, 5-year relationship here between OX and Mack Trucks. David, from your perspective, what are the characteristics that make a good partnership like you have with OX?
Yeah, they a lot of different things, Greg. So one of the things that they approach it as a steward of the brand on one hand. On the other hand, it's in their name, experiences, and so they come at it from the perspective of what can we do to engender a better experience for the Mack brand and for the Mack products. And I couldn't hope for a better partner in that thinking.
Lisa, how about you? What insights did your team gain from working so closely with Mack Trucks as you have?
Yeah, there is no better project as an example of that question and what we see value in a partnership in general, but specifically with Mack, and that's the trust to take a risk. This was, as David said, this was a big swing. This was something that hasn't been done in the industry. There's not another brand we can point to and say, see, they're doing it successfully. We need to have a lookalike. This really was net new. And to have the trust and the partnership to make this real and to, put together an MVP, I think that's the real value here. The transparency, obviously, that comes along with that. There were moments of, picking up the phone and saying, we're not going to be able to do that. Or the platform isn't working. We need another solution. So I think there are some difficult conversations there along the way, but the ability to have the trust and the candor is the most important thing.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you both for sharing your insights and the story behind the Mack Truck Live Tour. To learn more about David Galbraith, Lisa Ferriter, and their respective companies, you can follow the links in the show notes. And thanks again to the Office of Experience for sponsoring this episode.